Thank you, Lord Mayor. I move the motion set out in today's papers. This motion is born out of frustration. Frustration at the failure of this administration to give road safety the degree of priority it deserves to have and our citizens wish it to be given. It's clear that residents are fed up with dangerous driving and want more action to tackle it. And it seems that at the last election the message had got through to the ruling group. The Labour manifesto made road safety the first item in its Building a Safer Birmingham section. But a year on, and you're left wondering whether this was less a plan for action and more a cynical response to the concerns of voters. Take the very first pledge that this section of the manifesto makes. We will go further by tackling dangerous and antisocial speeding by trebling our network of average speed cameras on key routes across the city, it says. Well, as there were 6 sites at the time, that means an extra 12, or a rate of 3 a year. We're now a year in, and how many have we installed? None. Okay, maybe there are several about to be implemented, but again, no. And then look at what this council agreed, with Labour members voting for our amended motion back in September 2021, and I quote, "Council therefore calls on the executive as a matter of urgency to," first bullet point, "complete the current review, which is assessing the expansion of average speed cameras," and second bullet point, "as part of the work to update the road safety strategy, bring forward a comprehensive road safety plan, making use of average speed cameras and local initiatives as appropriate to tackle areas with high collision rates and areas of community concern," end quotes. Well, here we are, 18 months on. So while we haven't yet had any action on average speed cameras, surely at least we now have a new road safety plan that maps the way forward. Again, no. Look for the new plan, which was to be urgently brought forward in 2021. And what do you find? Well, there is a plan on the council website entitled A Road Safety Strategy for Birmingham, dated October 2016. And if that's the ruling group's definition of urgent, I'd hate to see what Take It Steady looks like. And if you have a look at the 2016 plan, you find an action plan within it that stretches out as far as 2020. So, by the time of our motion in 2021, it was already seriously out of date. The Labour manifesto also pledged to spend 10 million making the roads that are outside our schools among the safest in our city, with part funding from the Clean Air Zone revenues. Now, when Councillor Hunt asked where the funding was for this work earlier this year, the answer gave a number of different budget headings, totalling 12 million. But of these, only 2.5 million were dedicated to school streets. The biggest single item was 4.6 million for ward minor traffic measures. Now, unless we're about to be told that ward minor traffic measures can only be used for school street safety measures, that makes progress on this pledge look nearly as weak as the progress on average speed cameras. And a key point to all of this is that while the rhetoric is all about encouraging active travel, for example, getting out of our cars and onto bicycles, unless we are much more proactive about tackling dangerous driving, the vast majority of people who can't get to where they want to get to via a segregated bike lane simply aren't going to do it. And I don't blame them. It just takes one idiot deciding he can't be bothered to wait for a red light to turn green or to obey the speed limit, and that can be the end of you. So our motion calls for action. In particular, a number of specific things. Firstly, for a much more sophisticated analysis to prioritise road safety work. We currently have the 9 injury collision threshold. This has always struck me as odd. Take a couple of moderately used roads, each with 6 or 7 injury collisions in the past 3 years, where relatively simple, low-cost schemes could significantly improve safety, and set against it a very busy road with 9 injury collisions where a scheme to tackle them would be very expensive. Surely it would be better value for money to tackle the first 2 roads. The current criteria seems based on finding reasons not to do safety work, as even when you had a section of road with more than 9 injury collisions, if they have a variety of causes, it seems quite likely with a high number of collisions, you don't get anything done. We want to see maintenance work aligned with road safety work. In other words, whenever a road is to be resurfaced, it should be looked at to see if road safety measures can be included. Much as when pavements are resurfaced, residents are offered radically cheaper drop curbs. And we believe that road safety work should pay active concern to priorities in ward plans. What will work will vary from ward to ward and road to road. If ward plans are to mean anything, they need to have at least some influence on shaping what is done locally as part of a common strategy for the city, when it finally is updated. And finally, it would be good to actually get a plan for the much promised expansion of our average speed camera network. So, Lord Mayor, we do appreciate that road safety work is complicated and involves several different partners with their own agendas. But put it like this way, since the Council asked for an urgent update of the road safety strategy, Russia has mounted the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the government developed Homes for Ukraine, it's been delivered in Birmingham, and the Scrutiny Task and Finish Group has written a report on how it went. It's time for action, Lord Mayor. I move this motion.
Thank you.